going to if more in the attendee, and then we'll start. All right, so hello to everyone. My name is Maurice Altaf. I'm an account manager with SolidCAD, and today we'll be talking about Ctc tools. So these are some of our partner products that we offer, and as I mentioned, we'll be focusing on some of the free tools out of Ctc. And in specific, these tools will be out of our BIM Project Suite, BIM Manager Suite, and BIM Batch Suite. Our presenter today will be Thomas, and I'll have him take this away. He's got about 35 minutes to present to you. There's about 6 to 7 tools that we want to showcase, and then we'll leave about 10 minutes at the end to answer any questions that you guys have. Thomas, I'm going to change it over to you, and good luck.
Thanks, Maurice. Now, guys, I'm just going to share my screen now in a second. Now, hopefully everybody can see my screen okay here. I should have the Revit screen open, and you can see up at the top that I actually have my Ctc add-in toolbar up here. And it says obviously Ctc BIM Batch Suite, Ctc BIM Manager Suite, and Ctc BIM Project Suite. So as Maurice said, I'm going to be running through a couple of the free tools from each of these, and I might give you a quick overview of some of the others if we still have time at the end. Okay, so what we usually do when we do a webinar is we do the presentation first, and then if anyone has some questions, we usually keep about 10 minutes at the end of the webinar. We can answer those questions. But if you have a question in the meantime, feel free to add it into the chat. We'll be keeping an eye on that throughout the webinar, and we'll try to have the questions and answers ready for that time. Okay, so first of all, I want to thank everyone for actually being in on the webinar. I know it's Friday and everyone's probably looking forward to the weekend, so I appreciate everyone joining. I'll just dive straight into it. So when I first started using the Ctc tools, it frustrated me a little because I felt like I should have been using them the whole time. Anyone that kind of uses Dynamo and stuff knows that it can get very frustrating having to do things a certain way and having to click the same button over and over again. That's one thing about the Ctc tools that actually really helps, because everything is in one place and it actually very easily outlines exactly what we need to do per tool. So the first thing I wanted to actually run through was one of the very simplest ones up here in the Ctc BIM Project Suite, and that is actually the renumbering tool. So just like it sounds, renumbering tool actually allows us to renumber specific parts of a model. So you can see here when I open up the Ctc tool, it actually comes up renumbering, and you see we have rooms, doors, grids, detail numbers, and general. I'll also show you the options here. So the options basically have a couple of different options. One says remember the size and position of the main window, which would be this. Prompt before renumbering the same element more than once. So if you accidentally press on the same element a second time, it actually gives you a prompt, which helps a lot. And it also says skip the following letter during increments. So say if you don't want to have something like an I, because sometimes that looks like a 1 when it's printed out and stuff, you can actually include that and have like an I in here or something. Okay, so I just wanted to kind of talk to you that before we get started. So you see here, first things first, we go to our rooms, our doors, our grids. So I'm going to do doors first because that's one of the big ones that people tend to want to change. So see my sequencing number here, it says start sequence with, and it asks me to input a number. So I'm going to start off with 1, obviously. And then down here, I'm going to click to renumber. And that actually allows me to zoom in and actually start renumbering the doors. Now, if I started over from left to right, we say this one will be 1. And it says here, elements have duplicate mark values. Now that's okay, it will still renumber it. But if we wanted to not have that error pop up, we do have the option to come down here and actually check this auto swap door number. And that will actually swap. So if we have another door that has 1, that will actually swap with the existing one. Now, it doesn't really matter too much. Normally, obviously, we'd start off on floor 1 and work our way up. Now, I started on floor 2, which messed things up a little bit, but that's okay. I just kind of wanted to show you how you get that error. So I'm actually going to go back to my floor 1 here now. I actually have it in here, and I'm going to raise up the scale a little bit just so you guys can see it maybe a bit better. And see here we have a number of different doors and different windows and stuff that we may want to renumber. So again, I'm going to go up to my free tools, down to renumbering, and I'm going to start again. So I'm going to go to my doors this time, and I'm going to go start sequence with 1. And this time I'm going to click this checkbox, renumber. And I'm going to click 1, 2, 3, see the one here, there. So see the way you basically just have to click on the door and it automatically renumbers it for you. You know, it's really helpful. Now, another thing it allows you to do is actually put a prefix in front of the number. So if I put in like prefix A and I want to try it again, click here, A7, and basically goes up in the sequence again. And you can see the sequence is actually going up. So now we're on number 8. Okay, we press escape, it's highlighted in yellow there to bring it back to the selection mode. And you see underneath here, we also have another option. So it says doors, but it says room-based numbering. So in this case, do we want to have the door the same number as whether it's going in or coming from a room? And you see it actually gives you the room phase as well. So all ours are either existing or new construction. These are all new construction. So this time I'm going to use the room-based numbering. I'm going to press renumber again. And you see here that this room is called stair. It's the number is 110, I think. So it's going into the room. And see the way it automatically renumbers it as 110. And it already has a prefix there. So that's A110. Now, if I had another number that was going in, another door going in there, it'd do the same thing. It is a number that is 110 as well. I'll just show you that again up here. Maybe see this office here is called A3B. I'm actually going to go to my rooms this time, and I'm just going to start the sequence again. And this time I'm going to start the sequence at 101. And this time I'm actually going to renumber the room. So renumber, click on the room there. There's 101. Now see, it gave me an error there because lobby is already 101, but that's okay. Now lobby is 102. And this time I'm going to go back to my door and I'm going to do a room-based numbering, 2 room. I'm going to take away the prefix this time, renumber, click on the room again, or the door again, sorry. You see 101. Now then we're going to press escape, and this time I'm going to do from room. And you see here, this door is actually coming away from the room here. So I actually might just go renumber, click on this, again, 101. So it really helps us to do that. And see, this actually after swapping that one there because this one's no longer coming into the room, it's coming from the room. Okay, now you can see that it's really helpful. It allows us to put in a separator, it allows us to put in a suffix, it allows us to put in a free prefix after and before the number itself. Okay, now doors is not the only thing it allows us to do. So say if we were to, now windows is obviously another one if people wanted to change the instance mark of a window. Now right here, this window is actually this tag is actually a type tag. So I might actually just go in and change this very quickly. So instead of that being a type, I'll change it to an instance mark. Don't need to save that. And you see that's actually already after changing all my instance marks. But again, we can just use our Ctc tool now to renumber these instance windows. So instead of going to doors or rooms, this time I'm actually going to go to general. And I'm just going to start the sequence again with 1. Okay, I'll keep the auto swap one on, renumber, I'm just going to go 1, 2, 3. Okay, I'm sure you guys are, it's really impressive for me to be able to do that so quickly, especially when, instead of having to go into either the schedule and renumber it yourself or have to manually renumber it. Okay, so it really is helpful to be able to do that. Okay, other parts of the Ctc tool obviously is the grids. We can renumber the grids. Again, we can give it prefixes and sequences and stuff like that. This time I'm just going to swap this. I'm going to start off at, I think the grids are actually already set at 1 this time. I am going to start it off at 3 just to make it really complicated. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, press escape. Maybe we'll start again. This time I'll start with B, E, D. Now remember before I actually put in an option there before. So I'm going to start with G this time. And I just want to show you what happens then, obviously, because when we get to I, it shouldn't come in with I. H, I, where's I? There. Oh, that's I. Okay, okay. And then OP. And you know the rest. I won't keep going. Okay. Another thing that the Ctc tool allows us to do is actually renumber when we go to the schedule, we'll say, let's see, this was get sections here. This one should have a couple of different details. So you see here, this one starts 5, 6, 7, 8. We can use the Ctc renumbering tool to also renumber these. So if we go up to detail numbers, we can start off at 1, renumber 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so yeah, that's the renumbering tool. It really is helpful, and it can, very quickly allow us to change the doors, the windows, basically anything you kind of want to renumber. That's an instance mark, and allows us to do that very quickly. Okay, the next tool I wanted to show you guys was the Quick Select tool. Now, according to Ctc Online, this is basically the filter tool on steroids. So it kind of tells you exactly what it does as well there. So this time I'm actually going to go to my second floor again. Now, where are we? Floor 2. Okay, and this time use the Quick Select tool. So obviously, just as it sounds, we're going to try and quickly select some of the elements in this project. So what are we looking for here? Well, I don't want to find every element in the project right now, even though it gives you that option. It basically says gives you to filter everything in the project, the active view or current selection. So I could select all these and filter out from there. We can also actually filter by category or filters in Revit. Now, in this project, I basically just created 2 filters. Close that for a second. You see, it's just a fire rated walls filter and an interior filter. So I was going to choose the fire rated walls. You see here, if I choose this filter, I can actually add this selection to set. So this is my set over here. I update selection set, bring it over here. It says that there's 45 walls that are 1 hour rated. Okay, now obviously, if we were going to use filters all the time, we wouldn't need to quick select. So this is where the important part is. Instead of actually filtering out by filter, we can actually filter out by category. Okay, so this time I'm actually going to come down here and I'm going to look for the same thing again. But remember, this is not a filter that needs to be built into Revit. It allows us to actually search by all these different categories, no matter what it is. Now I'm going to go to walls again. So here's my walls. Now I choose which parameter I'm actually searching for. So I want to, again, look for maybe my fire rating. So where's fire rating? Here you go, equals, and I could type in 1 hour or whatever, but it actually shows me what fire rating is already there. So if I search for walls that have a 2 hour fire rating. Now I could just add this selection here, so it'll show all the 2 hour fire ratings here. But in this case, I actually want to replace, actually, you know what, I'll just bring it over as well. So it actually shows that there's 59 walls now, and 12 of them have a 2 hour fire rating and 47 have a 1 hour fire rating. Now what if I want to actually replace the selection set? All I have to do is come down here and replace the selection set. I can also click on this and remove the selection set, but I don't need to do that right now. So it's basically telling me in here, okay, here are all my walls that have a 2 hour fire rating. And if you actually come over here, you can see, okay, these are the interior walls, they actually have a 2 hour fire rating here. Now we can also add to this. So what if we want to actually look for all the walls that have a 1 hour fire rating? Again, we bring this over, update selection set, and you can see there's even more walls added. And this time we have 47 again. Remember, this time this is basically just using it was like we used the filter tool before. We're doing it again. We also have a search bar up here, and what this allows us to do, it allows us to actually search for specific parts of the elements that we already have in here. So what we could do is, instead of actually going in and saying, okay, well, I don't want to see everything, I only want to see maybe the interior 1.3. Now see the way everything is still popping up here, but you see there's a difference. So this one here is 138 millimeters. This one's 135. If I actually type in 135, see the rest disappear. Again, if I go to 138, the other 47 ones. So I can almost control what I'm actually selecting by just using these. And you see, I actually have more options in here as well. So I can actually control what I want to see and what I don't want to see. So if I don't want to see any of these, maybe I go to zoom to fit so we can see everything here. And I'm going to come over here, I'm going to check none. So these are not selected, but I can actually choose which walls I now want to select manually. So again, it gives us that ability to just manually go in and actually select the ones we want. Okay, and it also gives us the option to isolate elements, to hide elements, to isolate categories. Now, so if I want to isolate these elements, to only see these elements, there you go. So it shows me only the 2 hour rated walls that are here. I press OK, and I can still work away with these. Okay, I go into my Ctc tool again, quick select, and again I can just say check none, reset. So bring these all back. But you can see how useful this tool is. Okay, it basically gives us that opportunity to quickly select without having to create new filters or anything like that. Select the elements we want, go in, we can then edit them, we can change type, we can do kind of whatever we want to do in Revit, as long as we have them pre-selected before using the quick select tool. Now I should add, before I go any further with all these tools, you see here when we open up a tool itself, it does actually tell us that we can save these preferences as well. So if I wanted to maybe look for these wall preferences the next time, it does allow me to actually save these, and I can actually load them in the next time as well. So instead of having to go in and pick walls and pick fire rating, I do have the ability to actually come in, save what I've already looked for, and load it into this tool. Another thing that CTC tools give us is actually a little video that helps us to actually understand how to work the tool. So if you guys are struggling with my Irish accent, I apologize, but just know that when you do actually download the trial, I will show you guys how to do that afterwards as well. You do have a video here with someone with a better accent than mine that does explain how to actually use the tool. Okay, so moving on, the next tool I wanted to show you guys, just looking down my list here, is actually from the BIM batch suite, and it's called the Family Exporter tool. Now I'm just going to reset my, there we go, bring these back. Now what do I want to do? So I want to go to my BIM batch suite, which is the one over here, little kind of purple and pink. So I want to show you the Family Exporter. So here's the Family Exporter when we open it. So we see here, obviously, as the name suggests, it allows us to export the families. It's, it's really helpful that they name them exactly how they work. So it basically tells you what families are in the project already, and it actually gives us the ability to select them. Now you see over here we have some more little icons. So we have check all, check none. We can expand all, so we can actually see what families are actually in the model, or we can collapse all. So I'm going to expand these all. I'm going to select all these. So what would happen if I actually went down here to the export button, these would actually export all these families in. You can see there's not that many because this is just a regular Revit project that I basically just was messing around with before the webinar. But obviously, if you have a Revit project that has a lot of your own families that your company uses, it's very helpful to be able to do this. And another thing it allows us to do as well. So say if we wanted to categorize our families and put them into a certain format. So maybe you want to use like master format or something like that. Say if we went into checking on here, we go down to our doors. So we want to basically export all our doors that are used, maybe all our windows as well. There's not that many in this one, but we can also give them a prefix. So we could say all these doors and windows are going to have 08 dash in front of them. And it gives us the ability as well, before we export it, to select or create new subfolders named by category, category dash geometry, geometry, or category, or geometry slash category. Now, I'm just going to have it by category because that seems to help. So we know that at least we'll be able to tell which ones are with doors and which ones are windows. Okay, so we're going to export it to what folder? So export to folder. I have a little folder set up just for this in here. So Ctc, open that up and exported families. And you see I actually have it done already, but that's okay. I'm just going to put it in here again. So exported families, okay, and I'm going to press export. Now because I actually don't have that many families, and this is just a little thing that says it might take a while if depending on the number of families, but that's okay. It gives you that. I just make sure to select do not show this message next time and press continue. It just shouldn't take that long because there's only like 10 families there at the most, but just give it a second. Unable to see, I knew I should have deleted those families first, so I'm just going to delete out those exported families from the folder, and let's give that one more try. Now, see, it actually gives us a little status bar at the bottom there. Family selected for export 9, and it says, "Oh, this is okay now," because I basically just I deleted the families that were there before. So I'm just going to bring this up here. You see that this is the exported families folder that I used. If I go into each category now, the doors, they have that little 80 master format number there with the dash. Same with the windows, it should be the exact same. So it's really helpful. Now again, you could export everything at once. You can export everything individually. It's up to yourself, but it just gives you that ability to be able to export it, and you can also group things by category. You group things by geometry as well. So you want to see the annotations or you want to see the model ones. All those ones are there. And again, we can just check them, these all, and we can export away. Now what this is actually very useful for as well, if anyone here is using Hive, Hive is basically what we use for like a family library, because it gives us the ability to view the family before we put it into the project, and we can basically create a family library using Hive. And what we can actually do in conjunction with the family exporter, we can actually open up Hive, we can add content using Hive, and we can actually use the folders that we've just created to upload it to Hive. So we can add content here, or we can actually create a new library using the folders that we've actually just created. So just so you guys know that you do have that ability to actually use it in conjunction with Hive. Now I won't go into Hive in too much today, because that's a webinar all into itself. We'll just keep going with the free tools for the moment. Okay, so the next tool I wanted to show you guys was the family loader. Now we see here that the family loader, when we open it up, it's a bit different from the family exporter. It's not it doesn't seem as simple to use, but it actually is very simple to use. So the first thing I'll point out is we have three buttons up here. So one says add host projects and families, the other one is add families. Same down here, we have projects and family files to update, family files to load. So basically what this first box here is, it basically is what projects or family files we want to load the families into. So if I actually go up here to the add button, we see here that we can actually browse through certain folders, and we see, okay, what projects do we want to load the families into? So we can just choose, okay, we'll choose that folder here, and that will actually, you just pick the folder you want to choose, and it actually shows you all the models that are actually in there. And what we can do now is we can actually select the ones that we want to put in here. So say if I wanted to add, okay, this is my modern hotel, I can actually select this and bring it down here. It doesn't have to be one, it could be multiples. Now again, I'm just probably going to select, just make it easy on myself, I'm just going to add these families in here as well, so it doesn't take too long. But again, just know that you do have the ability to use multiple ones at once. Okay, so I'm okay with this. These are the 4 files that I'm happy to load my families into. I press OK, and you see they're part of this. Now, Over here, we actually have the ability as well to save the ones we've already selected. So when you save it, it actually saves it as a TXT file, and it will save them in a specific place you want. So you can basically choose the 10 projects that you are constantly looking to update or load the families into, and you can load them in here the next time. So you're literally just going saving it as a TXT file, and again, just opening it up using the same file, and all these stuff will automatically come in. So the next part is add the families. So what families now do we want to load into these projects / families? So we come in here and we say, okay, so same thing again, we just have to browse to a certain folder, and we choose which ones we want to load. So I'm actually going to use the families that I just created were in here. So I'm actually I want to load in these doors. So I choose these doors, and you can see these are the doors that I actually just exported a while ago. So I'm going to choose these, and I'm going to add them down here, and we can actually do it again. So we can come down here now and we can go, okay, which ones do I want this time? This time I actually want the windows. Press OK, and you see that the windows are now there as well. So it actually gives us that ability to keep adding to the families we want to add into these. So I'm going to add these as well. So you can see here, I'm happy with these 9 families or whatever. Load them in. These are the families that are going to be loaded in. Again, we have the ability to save these as a TXT file someplace. I will show you again. So these are the families to import. I will just save this TXT file in here. I'll frame it as a family host TXT. No, I will save it as something different because I'm not sure what that one is. I am going to save this as families to import, and I press save. And now watch what happens here now. I should just be able to come in here, select all these. I don't want these anymore. But I can actually come in here, load this, and I can say families to import, and they will automatically just get regenerated in here. So down here then we have a couple of different options. So you see this one here says only reload families that already exist in each host file. So basically what this will do is it will look and see what families are already in the host file, and it will allow you to only load in the ones that are already there, which basically means that you are only going to load in the families you actually need in that project. So it's like you're updating them. Okay, now if that's unchecked, you can uncheck it here. We can just load all families into host files. Now that will obviously bring up the file size depending on how many families you want to load in, or it just will allow you to add a family in there. So if you have like a company template that is very minimal, has a minimum amount of families in it, you can actually use this tool to start importing the families in there. Okay, now I'm just going to press OK here so it's quicker. See, this one says only reload types that already exist. So that's, yeah, so we only want to reload the ones that already exist. So down here again, we have create new locals for central files. So what that actually allows us to do is when we're actually working in a central file, obviously we have to create new local files every time. But it creates a new local file for us. So what happens then is when the new local file is created, we have to actually sync it back up to the central file, and that will make the change. So it won't make the change straight away. We have to make sure that we sync it up as well. Okay, and you see down here it says suppress override dialog. So if you don't have this checked, when you're actually loading the families in, it's going to say, do you want to override this family? Do you want to override this family? We don't want to do that. Now you want to make sure that you're obviously you have the correct family going in there, so you're not making mistakes or anything like that. But make sure that checkbox is checked so that we're not getting the notification every time. And you can see here we have that extra option then to do overwrite the existing version or overwrite the existing version and its parameter values. Now you probably already know that when you use this option and its parameter values, it'll basically reset the family back to those original parameter values that are in the family. So you might want to sometimes just use this existing versions as well. Okay, and you can see here that it says automatically save host files after loading families. Now sometimes we probably don't want to have this checked because we don't want to save it straight away. Maybe sometimes we want to actually look at the families that we've loaded, because when you actually load this, I'll show you now, it will actually open up the families that we're going to be loading in as well. So there you go. You see that it's very quickly, it does that because it's basically just reloading the ones that we already have in the project. So I'm going to close this, and you can see that it actually has the host files that are there. Again, we can just save these afterwards. Now I don't want to save any of these obviously, because I don't intend to actually load the families in there anyway. But again, we can just come up here and we can save this file now, because again, it doesn't automatically save it for us unless we actually have that box checked. Okay, there's another box up here that basically says current document, and if we click on this, we can actually see the families that are already in the project. Now, where are they? Sorry, it's actually coming up on my other screen here. So you can see actually there's actually a lot of families in here that are in the project already. Again, what we can actually do is we can actually check these and we can actually reload these families. And again, we have that option to reload them using the existing version, or reload them using with the existing version and its parameter values. So we also have that ability there as well. Okay, so that's the family loader. I will keep going just so we're getting through these. Where were we? So family loader, exporter, yes. So we did the family loader. Next one, we actually want to move on to the BIM Manager suite. So that's this one over here. Now this one is actually one of my favorites, because it kind of has that ability where if someone's not really sure about Revit, or hasn't been using it, constantly for the last 5 years, they're not sure exactly how to work it at a high efficiency level. But the BIM Manager tool actually allows us to work on certain things without have to manually go into Revit too much. So the first one I want to show is the project cleaner. Now everyone knows that Revit already has the purge tool, which is really useful. But if we come in and open up the project cleaner here, we can actually see that it gives us the ability to actually purge out views, schedules, and legends. But we can actually check the ones again, which ones are doing it. Now one of the things that the purge tool doesn't have is it doesn't give us that ability to actually purge out the sheets, and the project cleaner does. So we can actually manually check these, and we can actually purge out the ones that we don't want to use. Now obviously I don't want to purge any of these because they're useful. They're going to be more useful in a little while for the next couple of things I want to show you guys. But again, like the rest of the tools, we can actually save this selection into a file someplace, and we can actually use that. So you can obviously save that in your project folder and then load it again the next time. So you basically can choose what sheets or views, whatever you actually want to keep, and which ones you don't want to keep. And every time you do like a archive a model, or you're sending it to a consultant, you can actually keep doing that again and again, and you have that peace of mind to know that you can just load in the section you want, and then use this tool to actually clean it out. Okay, and you see up here then, after you have all the things selected, you just press the purge command and it will purge out all the stuff. Yeah, again, I don't want to do it. I just kind of wanted to show you guys how to do it. So it gives you that ability to purge out some of the things that are not actually available in the purge tool. Okay, it keeps popping up down here. Now, so again, we have our images. You can see the imports that are there. There's no links in this one. Filters that are there, view templates, and views. So there's a lot of things to choose from here. The project cleaner, it's a very simple tool, but I find it really effective, especially when you're trying to get a model ready to send out to somebody else. Okay, the next one I wanted to show you guys was the revision cloud remover. And this is not one I use a lot, but I do find it is useful. So say if you have someone that's constantly coming in and putting in revision clouds all over the place. Now obviously you see here that this one already has a couple of revision clouds that are already there. I think I actually had these hidden, if I remember correctly. Yes, I'm just going to turn these back on. So here's my revision clouds here. But it's important that sometimes when you have a revision cloud, it's for a reason, because there's a revision. So chances are when you actually revise something, you put a revision cloud around it, and then you'd actually issue the revision. Now, what happens if people are putting in revision clouds when they're not actually issued yet? That's what this tool helps with. So we come up here, we go to our free tools, a revision cloud remover, and this will actually find the revision clouds. It actually shows them there that are not actually that haven't actually been issued yet. And it still allows us it still gives us that ability to keep the revisions on the sheets, but it will actually allow us just to remove all of these. Okay, really simple again, but really helpful. So obviously you want to keep the ones that are issued for the next sheet set, but you don't want to keep all the ones that are not issues, because obviously if they're not issued, there probably wasn't a revision there, or someone's already fixed it or something like that. But it does give us that ability to find the ones that are already there and find the ones that are already issued. Now I'm just going to click on, and I'm going to show you that in the sheet itself, not this one. Oh yeah, I forgot to change that. So I'm just going to change that back to 1 to 100. Apply that. Go back down there. So you can see here that one's there. And where is my? There's my second floor there. And I'm just going to change this back to 1 to 100, so it fits on the sheet again. Now, so you see there's my revisions here. I'm just going to take it back a little bit, and I'm going to pretend I didn't actually purge out those revisions. So there's my revision clouds again. Again, I'm going to change this back to 1 to 50 so it doesn't look ridiculous. There we go. And this time I'm actually going to use the revisions, make sure they're not actually issued again. Okay. And this time I'm going to use that Ctc tool again one more time, just to show you guys exactly how it works. So revision cloud remover. And remember, my 3 revisions are over here. So this time I'm going to select all these again. And I'm actually not going to check this box, remove this. And it actually deletes that. So remember that if you want to keep the revisions, you have to make sure that that checkbox is ticked. Okay. Now here's my, I'm just going to move this back because I'm planning on plotting a few after this, and I want to make sure it's in the correct scale. There we go. Okay, so that's the revision cloud remover. Next thing I want to show you guys is the family tools. So up here, family tools. So this basically allows us to work with a lot of the family tools that we're going to be using in the project. And you can see it kind of shows exactly what to do. So this one here, delete backup files. So again, we can just choose. So if when you're constantly, working on a project, maybe you're creating new families or editing families, Revit tends to create a lot of backup files. So what this allows us to do is, if we select a specific folder, I'm going to go back to my desktop. I should have a lot of files. See all these. Now, if I was to manually go in and click all of these, I'd have to go and click one, delete one, click one, delete one, to clean up my desktop. This time I can actually just come in here. I can select all of these and I can delete the backups. Okay. Now again, I could just manually go in and check these. Okay, but I don't want to do that. I just want to go in and delete all these backups. So, and it says, are you sure you want to permanently delete these? Now, chances are I'm never going to use these backups again anyway. I hope not anyway. But if right now I'm just going to permanently delete them. It's not deleting the actual file, it's only deleting the backups. So have no fear. They're all deleted. Okay, and now it tells me there's no backup files because I basically deleted them all. Now, I'm sure if I go back to my desktop now, it'll look a lot cleaner. So again, this one here is the type catalog file. So this one is basically searching for CSV files. And what it allows us to do then is actually convert the CSV files into text files. Now, I'm not sure if I have a lot of these here. See if I have any. No. Where would I have CSV files? I think I might have some in the downloads. So you see here that I have a couple of, for Zoom or BIM 360 or whatever, and I can actually just click this button here. That'll copy those CSV files to a TXT file and allow us just to manually open it up using a TXT. Now, this one here is to compare shared parameters. Okay, so I actually created some shared parameter files before this. I'm going to browse to them again. So this time, there's my shared parameter 1. You can see there's a big difference in them. This one has 27 kilobytes. This one has 3. I'm going to open this one here, and I'm going to open up the second one here. Press open, and I can press this little blue button here to compare them both. And you can see here it actually gives you a little report, and it tells you like what's been loaded in, which unique groups that are there. So this one has 14 unique groups, 183 unique parameters, and it basically gives you that information there if you wanted to read through it. Okay, this is the second file, 3 unique groups, and it tells you that the different parameters that are there. It also gives us more information down here. So you can see here this one has 14, 1 unique group, 14 file. This one's 3, 2 unique groups. You can actually see all the unique parameters that are there. If you were to come down here, if it had any common parameters, it'd actually show up in here. If it had any common groups, it'll show up in here. And if it had any conflict parameters, parameters that basically conflict with each other, it shows up in here. So it can be really helpful to see which ones you don't need and which ones you do need. Because the next one I want to show you was the merge shared parameters file. So this one basically allows us more or less to do the same thing. We can actually browse for the shared parameter files. There's one, there's two, and we can actually swap these if you want to. So say we basically want to load from shared parameter file and load to shared parameter file. So what we want to do here, we want to take the parameters from this file and put them into this file. Okay, and we could swap them. We could have it going from this file into this file. We can do that as well. I actually have more files in here, so what I'm actually doing is I'm actually going to just duplicate these ones. Oh, that one there. And I am going to merge and preview. Now I can load from parameters as well. This time I'm just going to see all the ones that are there. If it ever comes up in gray, just load it again. I can select all these. I can select them manually. I can take the ones I don't want to use. I'm just going to merge, use this little merge and preview. Again, it generates a report, tells us what's actually been imported in. It shows you all the different parameters that are actually been imported into that file. And then you can come down here and you can save merged results. And you can see here that it actually allows us to save as a merged shared parameter file. So it's not actually overwriting one of the ones. So if I went back to my folder down here, Ctc shared parameter files, you can see that there's a merged one here. And you see that it's actually 29 kilobytes now because we basically merged this one and this one together. So that one can be really useful to, it gives us that ability to merge the different files. Now here's another useful one. So if we want to find the family file version detector, so basically find out which families are what version of Revit. So again, let's try that again, and let's just go back to my Ctc in here, and it basically telling me all these in my desktop. Now remember, it's looking in subfolders as well, and it's basically saying that all these files are found. You see there's a lot there. Now right now it doesn't say the version yet because we have to come down here and detect the versions. So if I click this button here, it actually doesn't take that long, surprisingly. It's telling me there's actually a couple of 2017 ones there. So I'd know which ones I'd need to like upgrade and vice versa and do stuff like that. And there actually is Ctc tools that allow us to upgrade. I won't be showing you those ones today, but yeah, we do have that ability as well. But you can see there's a lot there, and very quickly it tells us, you know, the Revit version. It actually tells us when it was actually built in Revit as well. Okay, and it even gives us the file name. Okay, so I think you can agree that the family tools Ctc tool is very useful as well. Okay, now those were all the free tools I wanted to show you guys. It's 10:44. Now there was a couple of paid tools that I came across just as I was working with. Now it's up to Moise here. I'm gonna should I show a couple of these the paid tools? I wanted to maybe show the spreadsheet link. I wanted to show maybe the shared parameter. What do you think yourself? Do you think, do I have time to show these, or should I answer the questions?
Let's do this. Let's Thomas. Let's end it with these free tools for today.
Okay.
I know that you were eager to show spreadsheet link and some of the other licensed tools from our suites, different suites, but I'd like to end it for today. You know, that's the point of today, is to automate some of the tasks with the free tools, right? And so if you want to maybe show them, show our viewers where they can download these as trials, that would be great. And while Thomas is showing you guys, you know, this is the time when you guys can ask your questions if you have any, and if you don't, that's okay as well.
I'm just going to bring up my couple of my tools here. So this is basically just a SolidCAD website that I'm opening up. and it actually shows you where to download the CTC tools. Now, it's it's taking a bit long to load here now because my internet apparently is crap, and it's actually just struggling with the way I'm trying to obviously conduct the webinar as well. So just give it a few seconds here and it should pop up. In the meantime, I do want to show you as well that when you actually click into the CTC software, it does give you a description of a lot of the tools that we will be using, and it actually tells you if it's a free tool or if it's a paid tool. So don't forget that these things are here. It has the videos in them to show you exactly how to use the tools. Again, if my accent's a bit too strong, there's one for the batch suite, there's one for the project suite, there's one for the manager suite. So all this stuff is here already, and it actually gives you the video of the spreadsheet link. Again, this webinar was just for the free tools, so Mohit is right. I shouldn't be going into paid tools anyway, but if you do want to download the trials, you do get the paid versions for 30 days or whatever. And if you do like them, you can use them as well. But again, once you download the trials, you actually get to keep the tools themselves, and you get to keep the free ones there. And then if you do want to buy the paid ones in the future, you can get them back as well. Wow, this is taking a long time.
So I've just been told that our SolidCAD website isn't working for some reason, for whatever reason it may be. But maybe if you can just go on to the CTC's website, ctcsoftware.com. You can always visit ctcsoftware.com, or you have our information. You can reach out to me. You can reach out to Thomas at any point, or anyone that you know at SolidCAD. You can reach out to us, and we can provide you with links to download these as trials.
Yeah. So here's the ctcsoftware.com website. You can see here that you can see the products, and this is what I was talking about earlier as well, that you can get, there's BIM projects suite here. It actually tells you how to get started. You can add it to the cart to buy it, or you can try the BIM 360 project suite for 14 days. Okay, and then again, there's demo videos down here, and this is the list of all the things that you can do with them as well. Okay, guys. Just before we go as well, if you click on the free tools here, if you come up to, so say if you do download the trials, if you actually come up here, just in the settings, and this is the same for all of them as well, you can see you can actually customize what you want to see up here in the toolbars. So you can actually turn off the ones that you do and you do not want to see. Okay, and if you do actually want to, if you do buy the software as well, you can change the license from the free version to the paid version as well. So you can see here, you can go from time trial, buy now, to a standalone or to a network license as well. So that's just how you actually do that. But again, I find this really useful as well to actually turn off the ones that we do or we do not want to use. Okay, you just have to, and then you save them afterwards. Now again, I use most of these. I find them all useful, so that's why I actually have them all selected here. But yeah, that's all I wanted to show you guys. I hope you didn't struggle too much with my accent. And again, if you need anything from SolidCAD, don't be afraid to contact us. Is that everything, Louise?
Thank you all for your time. No, there were no questions. Yeah, okay. There were no questions, Thomas. So I guess if there are no questions, we'll go ahead and end it here. Thank you all for your time today. And we'll be hosting more of these webinars up. It will just be short webinars, just like today, 35 to 40 minutes, and I hope we can keep your attention for the next ones as well. Thank you so much once again. Have a great day.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.